People want to look and be great immediately when that's just not how the journey works. It is a marathon, not a sprint. It's about self-discovery, self-mastery, self-exploration, having fun, being present. That's what the journey is about. And oftentimes, if not always, the journey is messy, embarrassing, cringy, filled with lessons and growing pains and mistakes. And that's the beautiful thing. And it takes someone 10 years to master their craft. And it is impossible to look good and get better at the same time. So we're going to be talking about progress over perfection and getting unstuck. I'm going to need you to get up off yourself and give yourself a little grace. This is everyone's first rodeo. In this lifetime right here, this is our first go around. Allow yourself to be a beginner and enjoy every step of the process. Hello, and welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, Havilah. And if you're new here, come on, stay a while. And if you're returning, we are growing. I'm so excited to be on this journey with you guys. Like, I'm really showing up, I'm really doing it. But alrighty, we're gonna get into this video. For those of you who don't know, I am an artist and I'm an entrepreneur. I own a jewelry and a clothing line called Tavooni. I'm very crafty. I call myself Handy Half because there's nothing I can't do with these hands. If I wanted to build a house, I could, and I plan on it one day. But my business is primarily jewelry and clothing, and I started dabbling into some furniture as well, which is really cool, and I look forward to sharing that on this channel. But right now I am being called to speak. But I came across something yesterday and I was like, this is gonna be a good video to talk about, because I feel like it's just part of the human condition. We are so hard on ourselves. So this is for any artist, entrepreneur who wants to start something, who's on the journey, a creative, or maybe you just have a goal, and it could be anything. And when I came across it, I'm just like, yeah, humans are so daggone hard on ourselves. We are so hard, and we just need to give ourselves grace, because this is what ends up getting you stuck. You have all these preconceived notions and ideas and other beliefs that people put on you, and you compare yourself. Comparison is the thief of joy. And you end up just staying stuck, and you don't do it at all. As you get older, it gets harder because we're parenting ourselves. We don't have anybody telling us what to do or guiding us. But anytime you're starting anything, allow yourself to be a beginner. Just allow yourself to be a beginner. If this is your first time doing something, it is okay to enjoy the process and to show up as a beginner. And as someone who's been 5 years in my business, I know that feeling of building my website. Once you pass that, you're not gonna get it back. That is such a beautiful feeling, to be at the beginning of something and to be fully immersed in it, and to not judge yourself and not comparing yourself either. We are not striving to be the very best out right out the gate. We just got here. How can you be the very best if you just arrived? Don't steal yourself of your own moment by comparing yourself to other people. You do not know what stage they're on in their journey. You don't know where they're at, and you don't know what they had to do to get there either. So comparison and comparing is just off the table. That shouldn't even be in your mind. You do not know what these people have, where they're at on their journey, how many years they put in, how many hours they put in. And you cannot expect yourself to have something that somebody else has been working at for 15, 20 years. Or even a year, 365 days. There's some real people that are locked in. You can't compare yourself. So that's why comparison is just right off the table. Just poof, get it out of your mind. Don't steal yourself of your joy in your journey by comparing yourself. It is not a competition either. What we are looking for is just growth. I launched my business 5 years ago, and I think I talked about it for about 4 years. And at some point you do have to start. I was so scared and I was so embarrassed. I was wondering what other people were gonna think of me. Come to find out, nobody gave a damn. I got 2 orders my first day of launching, and I was happy, and the world kept going. It wasn't the end of the world. I said, oh dang, now I gotta keep going. I got 2 orders, now I have to add more pieces to my catalog, because I only launched with 3 pieces. And that was another thing. In my head, I was like, how am I gonna launch a jewelry line and not have at least like 12 to 20 pieces? I only launched with 3 because that's all I could afford. But it doesn't matter, because we are striving for growth. and every day I showed up for myself and for my business, things started moving. You have to be patient with yourself in the process, and you have to let go of expectations of what other people think of you and what you are putting on yourself. Because if you can only afford 3 pieces, you can only afford 3 pieces. So what, are you not gonna launch until you get the money? You ain't gonna launch now. What makes you think you're gonna launch then? If you are working on something and you are waiting for all these perfect conditions, if you're not gonna do it now with what you have, what makes you think you're gonna do it then? And I just have to say, as an artist and a creative and an entrepreneur working around other entrepreneurs and creatives who are at places that I wanna be or I see myself at in the future, in the very near future, nobody is going to knock you for trying. Nobody is looking at you and like, look at her, she only launched with 3 pieces. That is your ego. It is a fight between you and your ego that'll keep you stuck and paralyzed. Oh, I need to have all these conditions right. Oh, I need to have the perfect camera. If you have an eye, you can freak it on any camera. Anything can be a vibe. It might not be the vibe that you see yourself having in 5 to 10 years from now when you get that great equipment, but that is the beauty. That is where you are at right now. That is where you're at right now. There's something so beautiful in the struggle. They ain't never lied, because once you pass that level, there's no going back. When I launched my business, I just remember being so excited, like I have to launch. I also remember having that aching feeling in my stomach when it was launch day because I had to promote it and I had to put it out and I didn't have a lot of followers. But as soon as I launched, I was like, oh, nobody cares. Like people, you know, went on this website, they looked, a few people bought it, 2 people bought it, and they went about their day. And after that day, I was like, oh, that wasn't that bad. Half the stuff is in your head. I've learned so much along the journey, and there's stages that I'll never get back. There's something so beautiful about the beginning stages of anything, because once you're an expert, now you're an expert, and now you're gonna have to start on another project or another endeavor. We have a few good years here. And like I said, it takes 10 years to master something. Funny enough, I'm on year 5 and I'm like, let me start YouTube. Let me start my YouTube career. Actually, I have very big goals for my jewelry and clothing line, so I've been working on a few things behind the scenes, and while that marinates and kind of manifests and comes into fruition, I have to work on other endeavors in the meantime. And even for YouTube, I'm like, you don't have to have these perfect conditions to record. And for a long time, I psyched myself out about being on YouTube. I psyched myself, I need to do this, I need to do that. And a lot of the times it is self-confidence and self-worth and self-love, self-esteem. But I psyched myself out. But you can't wait for these perfect conditions, because there's no perfect conditions ever. Even if you have all the money in the world and you've been working on your business forever, there's no perfect conditions because you cannot gauge the outcome. Newsflash, you can't gauge the outcome. I was watching something about this designer and half of their pieces never made it to the show. They have all the money, the team, everything set up. There's no perfect conditions. You just show up and hope for the best, truthfully. And I'm gonna make a video about the fear of being seen and the fear of success, because a lot of the things in our head are just made up. It's all in your head. Nobody is judging you. And like I said, nobody's going to judge you for trying, because everyone has to start somewhere. Everyone has to start somewhere. And anybody with a good eye and has an eye for business, they see potential, they know. But what nobody's gonna buy into or believe is someone that doesn't have anything. They have nothing to show. Oh, you say you wanna train for a marathon? Oh, you say you wanna write a book? Let me see the first few drafts. What exercises have you been doing? You have nothing? You're stopping yourself from getting opportunities because you haven't even started. So there's no perfect conditions, and nobody's judging you how you think they're judging you. And if they are judging you, that's not your problem anyway. It's like, you're trying to start a project. You're embarking on a journey. Do we have time to worry about what other people think? And anybody that is being a critic is because they are not taking this chance on themselves and embarking on their own journey. God bless you. You don't need to start off with all the bells and the whistles. It's okay to start with wherever you're at with whatever you got. And I was talking about this in a previous video that I just made about playing small and dimming your light. We're off that. But I was talking about how, you know, you have to dress the part. You know, you need to have the thing so you can feel it and you can fully embody it. But what I realized is, when you are faking it to make it, people think you got it sometimes. You don't even know that if you are just being authentic with where you're at on your journey, someone might help you. Someone might offer their advice and their expertise. I was like, I'm not gonna do that anymore because some people think you have it all figured out. Whole time, help me! We wanna act like we have it all together, but truth is, a lot of us are not born with a silver spoon in our mouth. Some are better at making it look good, but it's okay to be exactly where you're at and be honest with it too. We don't want to miss any opportunities by acting like we are further ahead than we really are. It's okay if you're just starting. It's okay if you're only on year 2, and don't expect to be where somebody is at on year 5 or year 10 or 20 or 30. And anybody that's on the journey doesn't have any expectations of you if you just started on year 1, year 2. And not just entrepreneur, with anything. If you've been an active artist, nobody's expecting you to do that. No one has any of these expectations, and you shouldn't have any of these expectations on yourself either. Building anything meaningful takes time, and you have to go at your own pace, especially if you're just starting. You can't go too far too fast, or you're gonna fall on your ass. Every step is critical for something long-lasting. Every step leads you to that very moment. And you have to be kind to yourself in the process. And understand that, I don't know, this is my first day. And allow yourself to make mistakes. Allow it to get messy and ugly. How am I gonna get out of this? I guess we just gonna find out. Allow yourself to enjoy the process, the ebbs and the flows. And it's okay to ask for help. By the grace of God, I've never had a problem with procrastination. I am a certified doer. I'm a goer. Sometimes I have to like pull the reins in because I feel like it can be too messy sometimes. And I do have ADHD. I'm neurospicy. And sometimes I have to go back and do twice the work because I jumped off the cliff too soon. So I'm actually working on that. That's a problem I don't have. But I realize for people that do have problems with procrastination. Okay, actually, hold on. Because I do procrastinate on things around my house. Because sometimes my energy levels are just bloop, 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 bloop. But when I'm going, I'm going. When I first kicked off my business, man, I was going. I was going so fast. And now at year 5, I'm like, wow, I really need to take 5. So last year was my year to just take 5. Now that you have all this knowledge and you have all this data and wisdom, what can we do better? How can we build the plane and then take off instead of taking off and patching on as we go? Because it was just really getting crazy and it wasn't sustainable, and you will lead to burnout. So when it comes to procrastination, when it comes to artistic things or anything creative, I'm a goer. Like, let's do it. And I love that trait of mine. But I realize with people who do procrastinate, it's a combination of preconceived notions, subconscious beliefs, what you believe other people are going to think about you, comparing yourself, and striving for perfection. Perfection doesn't exist. It just doesn't. It can be close, but it'll never be 100%. Even if you plan a house down to the tile, to the trim, everything, and you have it on a 3D render, it's going to be different in real life. It's just going to be different. The process is going to be different. It's just what it is. From my past 5 years of creating and even drawing, the finished product is never exactly a carbon copy of what you had written down. And you have to allow room to grow. You never know if you don't start. And you're gonna be exactly where you are right now in 2-3 years from now, because you didn't start. And because you are striving for perfection that doesn't exist, that's why you're not starting. It's not real. Again, you cannot put the pressure on yourself of being amazing right out the gate. Perfectionism is a silent killer. It can hold you back without even realizing it, but it doesn't exist. It's not real. You feel like if it's not perfect, it's not worth doing. If it is not exactly this way, I'm not even gonna put it out at all. So you rob yourself and you rob of whoever else is supposed to receive whatever you're doing. You don't know what your style is because you haven't started. You don't know if you want to change your mind because you haven't started. You're stopping yourself before you even begin. And even if you are on the journey, and let's say you produced a certain body of work and you're afraid that it's not going to be received, are you doing it for yourself or for other people? Is the journey not for you, or is it for other people? Of course, everybody wants their stuff to be liked and received well. But when you can just produce, you're going to win some, you're going to lose some. Some of my favorite pieces might not resonate with other people, but I love it because it's me. It's who I am. Perfectionism is a myth. It is really non-existent. We need to get that out of our head. It does not exist for anyone. I don't care who you're comparing yourself. It does not exist for anybody. I've been around many walks of life, many people, many artists. It does not exist. It is not real. And it's not only killing you, it's killing your creativity, your progress, your self-esteem, your confidence. And you are so quick to tear yourself down because of this notion of perfectionism and not meeting certain standards that just don't exist. These standards don't exist, by the way. And everything is different for every single person, every single creative, everyone's journey. Different things are going to work for different people. All you need to worry about is your journey and your growth. We're not striving to be the best of the best. We're just trying to show up. And as you show up, you can look back and see the growth and make the necessary changes. I look back at my first packaging and I'm like, oh, scary, spooky, like very scary. But I didn't know it was my first time ordering off Alibaba and they did not get the colors right. That is a story in itself. I think I should make a video on that. But the journey is just up and down. It is not linear. There's no right or wrong way to do it. We're just trying to show up and show up better than the last time. But as you slowly show up every single day, you can look back on your progress and you can change things. But if you never start, you can't change anything. You're not going to master anything overnight. And that's beautiful. It's part of the journey. That's what it means to be alive. That's the beautiful thing about it. Allow yourself to be imperfect. Embrace yourself, imperfections and all. Let it be messy. And even in the beginning, if you're training, it's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy. You have to build the muscle. You have to build the muscle. I started going to the gym last year for the first time and being committed. And now I'm like, oh my goodness, my legs are getting muscular. But in the beginning, it was very uncomfortable. I felt like throwing up. I'm a very active person. But going to the gym, something about that, I was just like, ooh, release me. But I stuck with it. And the progress, I love it here. I never thought I'd ever say that. I've always hated the gym. If you could run clips back of me talking smack about the gym, embarrassing. But I love it now because I stayed consistent. And that's another thing. When you stay consistent with something, naturally it becomes a habit. You start building that muscle memory. And another thing, if you never start, you don't know what else you'll uncover and unlock. You might think you're going on one path and all of a sudden you end up on another path Because once you start exploring the world of creativity and imagination and exploration, you discover things along the way. I never knew I could make clothing. If you could see the timeline of my designs, it blows my mind. Because I said, oh girl, I never knew you had this in you. Funny enough, I never knew I was as creative as I was. I didn't start calling myself an artist until late last year, like 2 months ago. So probably like November of 2024. And this is already after I'm in my business for 5 years. And it is very clear that I am an artist through and through. I just never identified with that. And that is because of my upbringing and my childhood. I was adopted and I was in foster care and I was in group homes, and I didn't have the time or the exploration to kind of explore my creative pursuits or what I wanted to do. I had no idea. I was just trying to survive, really. But I followed the inkling. And that has led me far beyond what I ever thought I had inside of me. So if you never start, you don't know where it's gonna lead you. Once you just start, things start uncovering. I'm telling you, I just started with 3 necklaces and now I'm doing full-on couture. Leather work, bead work. My designs are, I am a fan of my own work. And it took me a long time to get there. A long time. I was so hard on myself. I was such a critic. And I'm still hard on myself now, but I'm allowing myself just to show up and to be. And it's okay to change courses. It's okay to change your mind. You have to start to see where you're gonna end up. You'll never know what's fully inside of you if you don't start. You'll never know if you like it if you don't start. Let's say you thought you wanted to train for that marathon. Come to find out, maybe you didn't. Maybe you want to organize the marathon. Who knows? But if you don't start or go into the direction of whatever inkling it is, well, I guess we'll never know. And we can't go out like that. We can't do that. We can't do that. Okay, let's see what else we have. Starting small and celebrating your wins. So if you are embarking on a journey, I would say do 3-month check-ins just to see the progress, because you will be surprised in what can happen in 3 months. And you can course correct if you want to, but just take small steps. Show up slightly, baby steps, okay? People just want to go straight to run these days. It's not how it works. But take small baby steps. Be patient, be gentle with yourself, and check in with yourself. In 3 months, look back at your progress and you'll see, and that will also give you the boost to keep going for the next 3 months and the next 3 months until you're fully in it, depending wherever you're at on your journey. And celebrate the small wins. Celebrate. I'm a big celebrator. I feel like we should be celebrating life all the time, because we just don't celebrate enough. Everything is worth celebrating. We are not striving to be the best of the best. Please don't compare your beginning to someone's middle or end. Wherever you're at in your journey, remember to move with love and grace and compassion. Focus on yourself. This is not a competition and it is not a race. Don't compare yourself to others. Eye on the prize. Just you and you. This is your life. This is your journey. Enjoy it. Don't miss a beat. Blink and you will miss it. We can't have that. And I love living. I live to experience and to feel everything in its entirety. It really is so beautiful. Once you pass a certain level, man, there's no going back. You don't need to have it all figured out right now. Trust in your path. Honor the process. Honor the process. It's always about the journey. It's never about the finished product. So yeah, trust exactly where you're meant to be. Let me know in the comments, what's one step that you're gonna do to move forward? Take what resonates, leave what doesn't, and share any of your thoughts in the comments. I love reading the comments. You guys are such sweet babies. I love you guys. And I'm so excited to be on this journey with you. And I'm showing up too. You guys are helping me show up. And even though it's not exactly how I want it to be, whatever that means too. It's like, what is it in your head how you want it to be? That'll keep you stuck too. Sometimes leave room for God to show up. Leave room. Be a co-creator with God. You show up and then let him show up and do the rest. That's your best partner. You want to have all things figured out. Although I do understand when you want to see something through and how you envision it in your head. Ooh, man. But I've struggled with that too. Even with photo shoots. I'm like, it needs to be this, it needs to be that. I want an editorial shoot for the girls. I want them jumping out of a helicopter. And it's like, girl, you didn't even just do a basic white wall. You didn't even set up the shoot. And every time I psych myself out and I just do a shoot, I'm like, wow, it came out so beautiful. Because I'm letting the work speak for itself. So what we envision in our head sometimes also keeps us stuck, because you have to know where you're at. You have to know where you're at. Don't get caught up in these grandiose ideas, but you're still right here. And you're choosing not to do it because you're not there, you don't have that budget. People make magic with nothing. Sometimes that's the best magic. Sometimes that's the best work. Being resourceful, using what you have, getting creative. All right, so with that being said, let's converse in the comments. I will see you in the next video. I'm going to do the fear of being seen and fear of success. I have a lot of videos that I want to do. I have a whole notes section in my phone of videos that I want to make. I can't record and speak fast enough, but I'm actually getting a hang of this. I am just starting on YouTube and it is quite hard talking to the camera, especially with ADHD. I feel like I lose my train of thought all the time and it's a little frustrating, but we're here and we're trying and we're showing up. I will see you guys in the next video. Here's to showing up, to progress, not perfection, to being graceful, having compassion on ourselves. And when you talk to yourself, imagine your inner child. Would you speak to her like that? You better not talk to her like that. Not my girl. Okay, I love you guys. I'll see you in the next video.